Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about the emotion of light. I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York. I make videos like this one. This one's going to be a little philosophical, I think. I make them about gear as well and technique. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. Sorry I'm not on my porch. Well, I'm sorry I'm not out on my porch because it is very windy today. And it would be very noisy. And also, it was snowing this morning. So I guess we're coming into that time of year. As much as 2020 has been stressful and crazy, it feels like at least the last couple of months have gone by pretty quickly. So, we'll see how the rest of the year goes. But so far, so good. I was thinking about, well, I had a bunch of other ideas, but I went to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, which always does things to me, right? And it was back. The rainbow was back. So I used to have, I have a prism that I have in my window in my kitchen, and I actually used it for a video. I talked about it a bit. And then when I kind of put it back in the window, I didn't spend a lot of time trying to find the light again. I just kind of put it back in the window and didn't really think about it again. And then as I walked back to get my coffee today, the rainbow was back. And I was like, aha, that is so interesting. And then as I was standing there looking at it, I saw this like flickering light bouncing around the space. And I was like, where's that coming from? And I looked, and the sun was coming down exactly hitting the top of my coffee and reflecting back and causing this interesting pattern of light that was bouncing around. And it made me think, because these are the things that make me think about light. It made me think about why we light, what is light in the context of what we're trying to create. What kind of tool is it? Because that's really what it is, right? It's easy enough to get a proper exposure once you've been doing this for a little while, or even if you're just using a camera that has automatic settings. I could take my phone and walk around, and it's an automatic, and I could make well-exposed pictures in many different lighting scenarios, and it would be fine. And one of the things that's really interesting that came about with cameras that were great in high ISO, meaning like the noise level was acceptable for people, is that you found this idea, and I joke about it sometimes, you don't need lights, but this idea that we don't need lights anymore. We don't need lights because there's enough light, because there's, we have high ISO. But that came from people perhaps who were not experienced, maybe I'm going to say, or not knowledgeable, or I don't know, maybe not creative or didn't care in my mind. Because the light is not about the exposure. I mean, yeah, you need to have enough light to make an exposure if you're trying to do certain things. But really, what we're lighting for is to create a mood, right? A lot of times I'm in here when I'm inside and I fire up all the lights behind me. I didn't today, right? It is darker, it's moody, right? I opened a little window over here. It added that brightness on the side. I've set a certain mood by having the light a certain way in this space for this video. I made that decision. It was a conscious decision. If I just used a webcam and let the thing do its deal, it would just light up and the whole room would be flat, and it would have no dimension, and it wouldn't have any kind of a feel. But I can, because I understand lighting, create the mood that I want in my images with my light. And this is true for portraits, it's true for fashion, it's true for product photography, food. All of this stuff comes down to understanding the concept of what not to show in a lot of ways, right? Or maybe how to show it, depending on how you want to talk about it. When we want something that is boom in your face, we might want it to be bright, right? Or contrasty. If we want something that's kind of comfortable and settling in, we might want it flat and kind of even, right? If we want to separate somebody out, we might want to add some kind of like a light that gives them a highlight, because that highlight's going to bring the eye in, right? These are things that we can use, and this is all about lighting. It's all about using the light, and painters use this as well. Of course, they could create it, but what they did was they studied light, and they understood when they were looking at things what light did. And then they recreated that in their paintings in, of course, an idyllic situation to create the feel that they were going for. Or sometimes maybe they used it in an unrealistic way to create a different feel, right? To make something that was unworldly, otherworldly, I guess not unworldly. This is something we can do as well. We can do a lot of different things with our lighting. And I really want you to, as photographers and filmmakers, I guess, and artists in general, to really think about why you're using light a certain way. Really think about this. don't think about, I want to use this tool or I want to look like that picture. Why do you want to do that? And how do you think that the light you're using is going to assist you in doing that thing, right? A small light that's going to single somebody out and make the eye drawn to them, or a very dark scene where you have to really bring the viewer in and they have to really stare to see it, or a chaotic scene where everything's lit up and maybe it's about motion and action. All these things can be done and more, right, with our craft, with our photography. And it's really, really fun and fulfilling to explore. So I would challenge you on some level to look for light, right? Be aware of it. I think sometimes people, who know me but aren't in the arts, like people in my family or whatever, will sometimes think it's funny because they'll see me going like, and they know I'm looking at some weird light. They're like, what are you doing? Like you're a cat? Yeah, because that's interesting to me. How the light flickers through the window of the subway car as it comes out into the bright sun. After being inside, your eyes are burning because it's like you have this darkness and all of a sudden it's bright. That's a mood, right? That's a feeling, and that's something that we can explore and should as photographers, I think. So if you guys have something to say about this or anything else, go ahead and leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already. I'm going to do some more of those videos where I kind of talk about some of my pictures and how I sculpted them with light. I got some requests to do like big group shots and stuff. I don't think I'm going to do those per se because I don't think that's interesting. I mean, I could talk about that in general, but you like big groups to get an even shot. Like that's not generally about being creative unless you're doing something very in particular. I may try to find, I think I've mentioned it before, where I did this shoot for this rapper and we lit every subject in the scene separately. I'll see if I can find that. And we'll talk about that because that was a really fun shoot. But generally speaking, if you're shooting big groups, you're kind of just going for flat, to make it, you don't want people to cast shadows on each other. You want it to be even. You're not really going for a lot of super creative drama if you're shooting a big group. 2-3 people, that's different. If it's like a rock band or something. But if you're talking about a large group, because when people say large groups, I imagine 10-15 people. For instance, I actually found a shot as I was going through old stuff where I shot this, which I did not expect I was going to have to do, and I was kind of proud of myself that I pulled it off. I was shooting for this real estate magazine, and I had to we went back to the office. I was supposed to just photograph the main guy. And he was like, photograph my whole staff. And he's like, I have a big boardroom. So I was like, okay, that'd be cool. And we go in there, and the boardroom is like, yeah, it's big, but it's full at the table. So everybody got on one side of it, and there was no place to put lights and stuff. I had to literally bounce lights off one wall to create I'll see if I can find that one. The shot itself is boring, but I think the stories may be interesting, so maybe I have to think like that. In any case, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, guys, and I will see you next time.